What's up, YouTube? Thanks for watching. This Marketing Monday, I dive into expired listings, and you want to watch this. If you want to build your business on listings, this is a must watch. But as always, thanks for watching all of our content. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button for us. We really appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Expireds to me are one of the lowest hanging fruits in the real estate business, because this is literally someone who has raised their hand to say, hey, I want to sell, I need to sell, I want to put my house on the market, I have put my house on the market, I trust a real estate agent to do it, and then it doesn't sell, right? So this is the perfect opportunity for you as an agent to steal that listing from the previous agent. Now, the reality is most approach this the wrong way. Most people approach this by calling that expired listing and telling them all the reasons that the home didn't sell, instead of calling them and showing them how you can sell the home. So there's a big paradigm shift there that needs to happen, and it starts with that right there. So let's start out with some of the facts, right? Only 28% of expireds will relist with their current agent, okay? That leaves a huge potential for you to reach out and get that listing. Only 28%, I want to reiterate that, 28% are going to relist with their current agent, yet 35% are going to relist that home within the first 90 days, and 37% of them are going to do it within the first 30 days. So what does that tell you? Well, a majority are going to relist that home, and far less of the majority are going to relist with their current agent. That leaves a huge amount of opportunity for you to step in and bring value and become the new listing agent. This is the lowest hanging fruit, guys, of a listing potential that you have if you play it right. So before you can begin to market to them, we've got to put ourselves in their shoes. What is their mindset, right? You have someone that has been forced to keep their house clean. Have someone that's forced to deal with showings. You've had someone that's had open houses on the weekends, that's had to make their beds, that's had to keep their dogs clean, that's had to keep their toys from being everywhere. You have someone that's gone through the whole process for 30, 60, 90, 120 days, maybe even more, depending on the listing agreement they signed, and they went through all of this and it didn't sell, okay? For whatever reason. Could have been price, could have been them, could have been the agent, could have been a million different things. That is irrelevant. The reason that it didn't sell at this point in the game, completely irrelevant. What is relevant is the fact that their mindset is frustrated and ready to give up, right? They've gone through all of this, they've done all of this work, and now they're staring at the face of doing this all over again and starting at ground zero. It's not a fun place to be, but this is where their head is at. So if you call them and then start hammering them with all the reasons that home didn't sell, you will lose. Not going to work, right? They are not going to listen to that. But they are going to be open to hear how you can sell the house and some new innovative ways that might drive more traffic. And that's where we're going to be able to attack any expired listing and actually bring value and potentially get it. Couple things that we need to caveat here. Make sure that the house hasn't relisted, because depending on your market, the penalties vary, but it is a pretty serious violation, ethical violation at the very least, to be reaching out to a client who is currently listed on the market with another agent. So make sure that they have not relisted before you reach out. Also, if they're on the DNC list, in most markets and states, reaching out one-on-one is okay, but mass communication is not unless they've opted in. So make sure you don't do that and that you're following all your local regulations and guidelines. So where can we find expireds? Your MLS will have them. You can subscribe to services like Vulcan 7 or Red X. We have Vulcan 7. All of these places will actually take it. There's several other sources as well. I'm sure you know how to find them, but if you don't, your broker definitely does. Ask them. There are many sources for them. Depending on which one you find, you'll have to do more research than others. Vulcan 7 and Red X kind of make it easy because they pull the contact information for you and kind of put everything together. So that's the first step though, find them, okay? Then once we find them, now we do our homework, right? We figure out why didn't the home sell. Again, we're not asking them why it didn't sell, right? That is not what they want to hear. But we need to understand why it didn't sell, right? Was it price? Was it condition? We have our agents do what we call a SPA, strategic pricing analysis. This is typically done after a walkthrough of the home, but through the pictures and through looking at comps and everything else in the market, we can do a high-level SPA here. Why is that important? Because we need to see how does our positioning, where we would price it and position the home if it was our listing, how does that compare to what it currently was? And does that align? Because if it doesn't, now we have variance there and we need to figure out why. And then how was it priced versus how we believe that it should be priced, right? How long was it on the market? Did they only give the agent 30 days to sell it? What are the average days on the market in that particular market, right? Is it, if they only had it listed for 60, but that market, based on your research, is showing that most homes are sitting 120 days in that price point, then they didn't give the agent enough time. And why is that important? Because the last thing we want to do, while this is a great opportunity and it is low-hanging fruit, the last thing you want to do is spend your valuable time on a potential listing with a client who's unreasonable and is going to waste your time. Your time is valuable. You cannot afford to waste it on someone who's not in a position, putting themselves in a position to be able to sell. So if that comes back and you say, well, wait a minute, they didn't give this agent enough time, that's why it didn't sell. Well, now we need to have a hard conversation with that seller when we get to there to say, hey, why didn't you give the agent more time? You know, and my research is showing that average days on the market's 120. You only gave them 60. You know, has anything changed in your world? What's your timeline? Why was that the case? And if they, now we're going to start diving deeper though, because now they may say, well, I have to be in Arizona in 60 days. That's why I only gave them that, because I needed this home to sell. Great, Mr. Seller. That's awesome. Where are you going? Oh, awesome. Arizona's great. If that's the case, then what you're telling me is that time is more important than money. And if that's the case, then I need you to work with me here and let's position this home at a price point that I know is going to be able to move this home faster, right? And it's not going to be top dollar. If you're telling me money is most important, then we need to have more time to sell, because it is time or money. There's very, very rare circumstances where you're going to get both. Okay, so that's a difficult conversation to have, but it's one that you absolutely need to have if you find that that is the case. Not all expireds are created equal. Again, your time is extremely valuable, so let's spend it on good expireds. So how do we market to them? The number one thing that most agents do wrong is they communicate with them in one way, maybe two. We need to communicate with our expireds in all ways possible. And that goes from door knocking, literally knocking on their door, to leaving them direct mail, to phone, call them, text them, email them, find them on Facebook, find them on LinkedIn, learn about them. What do they do for a living? Why is that important? Well, if I go on LinkedIn and see that the person has been a CPA and a CFO and a data analyst and all of these things, what does that instantly tell me? That this individual is data driven. So my marketing approach to them is going to be focused on data and facts and stats, because that is the world that they live in. If I see that this person is the chief creative officer and has spent time in branding, and now I know they're probably very visual. So I'm going to back off the stats a little bit, and I'm going to go more visual in my presentation in the way that I pitch things. So understanding who you're dealing with is important. And before you actually get to know them, the only way to do that is do your research, find them on Facebook, find them on LinkedIn. You can reach out that way as well, DM them, message them on those platforms, and figure out how do they want to communicate. And the other thing that this does is this shows your ability as an agent to be on all these platforms and to market yourself in all of these ways. And if you're going to do that for yourself, then subconsciously, at the very least, that individual is thinking, maybe they'll market my house this way, right? And so now, all of a sudden, these things really start to come together, and again, you're positioning yourself to take this listing. The reality is we never know which of these ways is going to be the one that penetrates and gets through to them, which is why doing all of them is very important. Once you do, paying attention to VAK, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, we talk about that a lot. There's other videos we've done on it. That becomes very important, right? Once you start that communication, how are they communicating? What words are they using? And then communicating the way back to them, the way they're communicating with you is vital if you want success. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. Now, how do we do this? What do we say? That's a big thing that a lot of you struggle with. So I'm going to give you several examples of what I would do depending on what I was leveraging and how I was going to approach this expired. So as an example, there's opportunity to leverage your current listings, okay? If you don't have listings because you're new, whatever the case is, you don't have any listings of your own, your brokerage does, okay? And while the other agents in your office, you're always going to want to get their permission as well, it's not their listing, it's the broker's listing, right? So start with your broker if you don't have a good relationship with another agent, or if you do, go to another agent that you have a good relationship with and say, hey, do you mind if I use your listings as a way to get this potential listing? And 9 times out of 10, they're going to be perfectly okay with that. So how do we leverage that? Well, I would say or send a text along the lines of, hey, Ms. Smith, this is Mike Puma with Century 21 Beggins. We actually have a couple other listings in the area that we are driving a ton of buyers to. I noticed that your home has some different features from the ones that we're currently selling. I would love to be able to drive people to you that are not a fit for these other homes. When can we set up a time to chat? Now, this approach is really, really intriguing. Why? Because rather than reaching out to them and saying, hey, I want your listing because your house didn't sell and it didn't sell because it sucks, now we're not taking that approach, right? Now we're saying, hey, I have buyers already and I have listings, right? Those are two things that put you in a better light. And I want to drive those buyers to you, and I'm already marketing in that area. It shows that you're good, it shows that your brokerage is good, and it gives them confidence in you from the get-go, okay? So that's one approach. Another approach is, I'm not reaching out about trying to get your listing. I was curious about where you are headed though, because we have listings globally. Century 21 has listings globally. The brand that you are with, likely, if it's a big brand, has listings globally. Leverage that. It's not just about you. It's not just about your local broker. It's about the brand, right? You're likely, if you're with a big brand, you're paying some sort of franchise fee per deal or however your structure works. Leverage that. You're paying for it. So how do we leverage that? Well, literally, you'll notice in this text, I didn't say I'm with Century 21 Beggins. I said I'm with Century 21. I am, right? I'm not reaching out about trying to get your listing. I was curious about where you're headed though. We have listings globally and I take that responsibility seriously. So I'd like to check in with potential people moving to see where they're going and if they're a fit for any of our other listings. Again, what does this really say subconsciously? Well, it says even though we say we're not coming after the listing, it's putting us in a position to get it because it's saying we have listings globally, worldwide, and we are going to the extra step of reaching out to potential people moving to try and sell those listings. And if we will go that far for these listings, how far will we go for hers or his, right? That's the key. Now, again, we're putting ourselves in a better light from moment one. Leverage your recent sales. I'm sure you've been getting bombarded by agents telling you why your home is not sold. I know why homes do sell in this neighborhood because I've sold 8 in the area, or whatever the number is, guys. It could be 1, it could be 0. It could not even be your sale, it could be the broker sale. The whole point of this is you know the market. And we're going to focus on why homes do sell or will sell, not why they didn't sell. It's never a good thing to start on a negative. So now, again, we're positioning ourselves as we know this market. And I stress this, when can I interview for the job of selling yours? I use that term a lot. When can I interview for the job? Because you'll get texts back that say, interview? No one approaches it like that. But selling their home is a job. It's a job that you want. It's a job that I want, right? So if it's a job, I want to interview for it. And I want you to ask me questions, and I'm going to ask you questions, and that's how an interview works, right? So treat it like one. You just elevated yourself, you've elevated your business, you've elevated your process, and it will work, I promise. So one thing we can leverage, all of you may not have it, but maybe you do. We have an iBuyer program within ours that will actually give us the ability to make a guaranteed offer to that seller and give us 45 days to go list it traditionally on the market and try and get them an even higher price. And then obviously they can take the better offer. So, hey, Ms. Smith, this is Mike with C21 Beggins. I have a buyer for your home and I'd like to discuss the offer. When can you discuss? Can it get more powerful? What does that expired want more than anything in this world? They want that home to sell. They just went through the whole process and it didn't sell. They want it to sell. You bring a buyer instantly, boom, now you've got their attention. Now we can have a conversation, right? And if you don't have an iBuyer program, it's not as powerful because we have the ability still to list it too with ours. You could use an open door. You can use an offer pad. Will they make that seller an offer? Do your research, right? They have parameters, but if the home meets that parameter, then absolutely you could leverage those. You do have a buyer, right? So again, there's ways to position that. We, in our market, and I'm sure many of you do too that are watching, we have Home Partners. Home Partners is a great opportunity. Why? Because Home Partners opens that listing up to a whole new market base. And if you can find a renter, then Home Partners will buy it, and Home Partners becomes the buyer of that property, right? So we can leverage a program like that to say, hey, Ms. Smith, this is Mike with C21 Beggins. Getting your home sold is all about the size of the buyer pool. I have a program that can open your home up to renters, which is directly tied to the sale of the home for you. When can you chat so I can explain in more detail? Again, now you're bringing something new to the table that most likely no other agent has brought. You're opening up the buyer pool, and for them, that's what they want, guys. You saying you're going to go list the home, in their mind, is the exact same thing the other agent did, and why in the world will it be any different this time? So you have got to approach this with, hey, I've got something new that the other agent didn't do. I do something different. And if you just expect them to believe you, then you've already lost. You've got to show them. You've got to earn it. Bringing a program like this is a great way to earn it because now you're bringing facts to them to say, hey, I've got this program that is going to open up the buyer pool to a section of buyers that has never seen this home, right? Or has never even considered this home. Now we're getting somewhere. Leverage your testimonials. Leverage your past sales, okay? Every realtor can get your home sold, right? At least that is what you've been told by them, I am sure. I have zero interest in asking you to take me at my word. However, I would love for you to hear it from some of my past clients. Please take a few moments and read through a few of these. I'm proud of my ability to help you. And then link them to your reviews, if you have them. Link them to some past sales. Prove what you're saying. Show them that you're the real deal. This will put you in a much better position to get this listing. So, in summary, the ultimate expired plan: knock on the door, call them, shoot a personalized video, and text it to them, right? Once you have their number. Connect with them on social, email them, collect data on Remind. If you have Remind in your MLS, use that. Collect data. How much equity do they have? When did they buy it? Where did they move from? Who's their mortgage with? You have all this info. It's all there. Use it. use that data to create a modified SPA. Again, a strategic pricing analysis that now allows you to understand what are the pricing variations between where they were at, where you think they should be, and where does everything kind of align, right? That's very, very important. And then use all of that to create a personalized marketing plan and deliver it to them. Do you know what the result will be if you leave a 12, 15, 30 page packet of a full marketing plan of how you will take their listing and market it and get it sold, and you put all that on their doorstep? Do you think any other agent is doing that? No, they're not. So if you truly want the listing, if you truly believe that this is the next thing to get your business to that next level, whether that's one transaction or going from 10 to 15 or whatever it is, this is the steps you're going to have to take to get there. And I know it will work. So again, thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time. If you have any questions, please DM us, message us, reach out. We're here to help. We'll help you create that custom marketing plan if needed. Just reach out to us. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button for us. We really appreciate it. Thanks, guys.